Hi fellow stampers, my name is Angela and I'm a new Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I have a website called wildvioletsart.com. Years ago I was a demonstrator, but things have changed so much with technology I needed to join everyone with instructional videos. So we're going to do a cute card today that is with the Stampin' Up! Daisy Lane set. This Daisy Lane set is really sweet with the little daisies, and it's got some cute little verses that go with it. It's called Rubber Cling. It's got rubber on one side and a sticky substance on the other, so that when you're stamping, you just add it to a block and then you can stamp. So I'll show you how to do that. Another thing that's really great about Stampin' Up! Is they have these amazing colors that all coordinate. And with those colors, they have stamp pads and markers and other items, ribbon, all kinds of embellishments that match their papers. So it can make for a really fun way to coordinate all of your cards with your inks and your paper. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a super simple card, because I want to show you that anybody can be creative. It's not just artistic people, it's everybody. So this is just a sweet little cheerful card, and now during COVID, it's really nice when people can get these wonderful little cards from their friends that will cheer them up. So when you start a card, you're going to start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and you just cut it in half. So then you'll end up with 5.5 by 8.5 piece of paper, and it's going to look like this. So once you have this size, you can just fold it over and use a bone folder, or if you want to get more exact, which people with OCD like myself can go over to 4 1/4, which is a half of 8.5, and then you end up with this really nice crisp line. You fold it over, and then you use something called a bone folder. If you don't have that, you can just use your fingernail, and you've got a nice card that's 4 1/4 width by 5.5 inches long. So in order to make this little card, we're just using the white cardstock, we're using a strip of the Pear Pizzazz, and we're going to make a daisy out of the petal pink cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to use a 1 inch by 4 1/4 inch piece. I'm going to place it about 2/3 of the way up. Stampin' Up! Has this great grid paper that you can see here. And I line up my lines and I take a look about where I want. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it somewhere in this area. And if I line it up with these lines, then when I glue it down, it'll be even on both sides. So I use a little bit of this Tombow mono glue. Stampin' Up! Sells it cheaper than you can get on Amazon. So I just line it up, make sure that it's equal. You can see that there's a little bit of extra along this edge. I just flip it over and I can trim it off. It's better to have a little bit too much than not enough. Now next, I'm going to take one of my little extra sheets, and these are my scrap pieces. I have these great little bags. This one was sold by Stampin' Up! When they sell their specialty paper. But as you can see from this one, this is just a plastic 9 inch by 12 inch slip cover that I can put my own little pieces in, because I'm constantly finding that I need them. If you have a 1 inch strip like this, then you've already got it. You don't have to cut a big piece to get a little one. Or if you're trying to do some little punching, you'll find that having these little bits and pieces really help to save you from cutting up a nice big sheet. So for the daisy can be cutting up a nice big sheet. So for the daisy can be, so the daisy has 8 petals, and I think that's a little bit of a sparse daisy. I'd like to see more petals. So I go ahead and I cut out 3 daisies. So I want to make sure that the cardstock isn't over, short on one of the little petals. So I watch all my sides, get as close over as I can, overlap. Cute daisy. I'm going to do this 3 times. And I save this because there's more I can get out of this. So this daisy lane set has 2 coordinating punches. This is the medium punch. It also has a larger punch that is this size. So you can make different size daisies. Super fun. I don't have the large one right now, just have the medium one. So this is what we're using. So what I want is I want to stagger these. Now you don't have to do 3 like I did. You can do just 2 and just stagger the petals, or you can put them together a little bit more, because I like my daisies to be a little bit fuller. Makes a super cute daisy. Now I want to pop a green in the middle, and just to show you, I'm a visual person, so I did a little research, and I have this inspiration page, and I just cut out a bunch of pictures of different flowers that are daisies or they have daisy petals. So you can see that the colors are just endless. And then I have this Gerber daisy page that I got off the internet. Look at all those colors. How many fun cards could you make with that? So don't be afraid to use color, be as imaginative as you want, and find inspiration where you can. So I wanted a green pop of color because I'm kind of following this Gerber daisy. I just fell in love with it. I love the peachy color. I love the little pop of green in the middle. So I'm using, again, the Pear Pizzazz. And because this daisy stamp has this fun little bubbled center, I'm going to go ahead and use my Pear Pizzazz stamp. So when you're using your stamp, you're going to size it to a block. I have a verse here on a C block. I think this daisy could have fit on that block. As you can see, they're about the same size, but I have this on a D block. And when you're stamping with ink, you want to get your stamp nice and juicy. So I'm not rocking back and forth. I'm trying to just keep it perpendicular. Now all I want is the center of this daisy. So I'm just going to make sure that the center is in one of these blank places. I don't necessarily want it here because there's something that's already been stamped there. And if I don't have enough room, I can always go to the other side. But this is one of my spare pieces. So I'm just lining it up. I'm holding this down for a minute so it really gets the color into the paper. And then I'm taking a 3/8 inch punch that Stampin' Up! Used to sell, but you don't have to have a punch. I'm just lining it up with the center. Or you can cut it out with your scissors. And when you're done with your stamping, I'm just using a wipe to clean off my stamp so that I don't accidentally get it on anything else. I've been known to get it on my cardstock for my card or on my table. So you can use a wipe. Okay, this has had a chance to set for a minute. So what I want to do is I want this daisy to pop out. If you look at this card again, you'll see that it's kind of 3-dimensional. It's sticking out there and the petals are kind of reaching out in all different directions. So I want that effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to roll. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just rolling it along my finger. You can see how it's already curving really nicely, just like a flower. And then I'm going to bend it back up. So that when you're done, you get this great 3D effect. I don't know if you remember, but I think my grandmother had one of these little pins made out of metal that was a daisy. Kind of had the same effect. You do the little pop of the center of the flower and sweet. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back. I don't want to glue the petals because I want them to really lift if I want them to. And I'm going to put it about a third. I was a third up thereabouts. I'm going to go about a third over. And I'm going to center it on this little green strip of paper. So next, I want my little verse. And this is a little small verse. It is part of this Daisy Lane set. Super sweet. And this will just put a smile on anyone's face. So when I'm stamping, it's a good idea. I forget sometimes because I've been doing this for a while. Is you want to stamp on another piece of paper just to get used to what it feels like. So that's a nice smile. But when you put it down and you rock it, you can get smudges and you can get outlines. So in order to not do that, I just try to keep it as level as possible. I center it where I want it. Press down, don't do any rocking, just let it soak in. And there you go. Card's done. One thing that you can do that's really fun is you can sign the back of your card, that people know that you made it. I usually date it, and that way I remember. But you can also put a verse in it. This little set has a couple of verses. One is, best moments of my life happen with you. The other one, it's your time to shine. So same thing, you open it up. Get your little verse. This again is on the C block. It's nice that they're clear because you can kind of tell where they're supposed to go. And I want it about a third down. I want it equal on both sides. So I kind of eyeball it. Just hold it there and lift. And you've got a sweet little card to give to somebody. Now Stampin' Up! Also sells envelopes. You don't have to buy it from them, but you'll find that the Whisper White cardstock and their envelopes are super soft and smooth and just really gorgeous. Now this I stamped the fern on to go with this little set, but it makes a really nice gift for somebody or message for someone. Now, part of what I wanted to show you today is that you can step it up. That means you can add a little bit more. You can keep it super simple if you need to get these out there, or you can add a little bit more pizzazz. This one has the fern that goes with the stamp set. So it's got the fern, it's got another daisy, and this adds a little bit more. Or you can add a little bit more of a pop of color, and you can layer with something like the Calypso Coral. Sorry, I have a hard time saying that. And I stamped, on this one I stamped with the Petal Pink for the daisy. On this one, I wanted a little bit more color, so I stamped it with the Calypso Coral. This one I also added some little embellishments. These are the metal pearls that Stampin' Up! Sells, and it just gives a little bit more wow to your card. So join me for another video soon. It was great to spend time with you, and welcome to Stampin' Up!